I was pleasantly surprised to see that the president was aware of a lot of the persecution that had been happening. She did point out that it is a very few people in India that choose to show this sort of division. When a mob attacks a church, the police and the camera team is already present with this mob. And the pastor who is being beaten up is arrested by the police and thrown in jail. We have 11 states right now that have anti-conversion laws. We've had the laws since 1967. Not one conviction has happened under these laws in a nation of almost the world's largest population, not one conviction.
On 13th April, a delegation of Christian leaders from Delhi met President Draupadi Murmu at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. This delegation also included Mr. Michael Williams, the Dean of Mount Carmel School of Delhi. During the half-an-hour meeting, the President was briefed about the steep increase in the incidence of violence against Christians, especially in the state of Uttar Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. It's been 24 years since Graham Staines, who spent 35 long years as a Christian missionary nursing leprosy patients in Baripada, was burnt alive by a group of right-wing activists. His son, Philip and Timothy, faced a similar fate. Not much has changed since then, as Christians in India continue to face targeted attacks on their faith, including threats to Christian gatherings, churches, and educational institutions.
I had the opportunity to share with the President of India how Christians have been involved in nation building. My own father served in the Indian Air Force and dedicated his life to 2 wars that India fought. And so whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, I reminded her how Christians have made a contribution, to which she agreed. And she remembered fondly her time in Odisha, her time in Jharkhand, when she had worked with nuns and sisters, and she knew about the community and the welfare they bring about. And she then reminded me that she was actually the neighbor of Graham Staines. And she personally still bore in her heart the pain of not being able to reach in time to save Graham Staines and his 2 little sons as they were burnt to death, and she still regrets that. Since 2014 to 2022, it is nearly 6 times the increase. From 120 incidents, we've almost hit 600 last year. And when I say 600, we are considering Chhattisgarh to be just a random 5-6 areas where it happened as 5-6 incidents. However, over 1,000 people were displaced. Each person is an incident. So there's been a tremendous sort of a rise. I think what is promoting this is many people who are trying to find political power, many people who are trying to get into the good books of the powers that be, have a strong feeling that if they behave like this, they will be recognized for their notoriety. And this notoriety is now in many areas being called a spirit of nationalism. So it is being marred and married by too many things, which is really creating a situation where people are using this as the stepping stone into politics, not good works, not actual nation building, not contribution, but this rubbish. A lot of persecution that is happening for tribal Adivasi Christians. Almost 1,000 of them had been thrown out of their houses, and the 1,000 of them that had been thrown out were running through forests. No government official was helping them. I had the chance to go and meet the Chief Minister, Mr. Baghel. I requested him to personally intervene, and he said he would look into it, but nothing happened. Post that, we decided that we will have a peaceful rally. 22,000 concerned Christian residents of Delhi came and gathered there on that particular day, and we created a memorandum which was signed by all the bishops, and we decided we would give it to the President, and this was the time slot given to us.
Post 2014, attacks against Christians saw an uptick. According to the Evangelical Fellowship of India, anti-Christian hate crimes have doubled since 2014. Let's listen to what the President had to say when the issue of attacks on Christians was brought up to her.
I was pleasantly surprised to see that the President was aware of a lot of the persecution that had been happening. She did point out that it is a very few people in India that choose to show this sort of division. She believed strongly that the majority of the nation was still a nation that loved the unity in diversity, that still loved their neighbors regardless of religious faith, and that there were just a few small people who unfortunately were pursuing this sort of an ideological guideline. Otherwise, she said she believed that India overall continues to remain a vibrant, rich, democratic nation.
Every time the question of someone accepting the Christian faith comes to the fore in India, even the popular perception is that the person concerned has converted either only under duress or due to some inducement. This view is not just held by zealous Hindu fundamentalists, but even by those who swear no allegiance to the Hindutva ideology.
We have 11 states right now that have anti-conversion laws. We've had the laws since 1967. Not one conviction has happened under these laws. In a nation of almost the world's largest population, not one conviction. So these laws are only meant to harass the people that it's made to. Otherwise, there is no such thing. There's such a huge hullabaloo made about mass conversions, forced conversions. There is no proof. There is no data. The law requires that the person who is affected by forced conversion or a family member of his is the only one who can file an FIR. But in UP, in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand, all of these places, we are finding that these are basically lawyers and other activists from the RSS or Bajrang Dal or some Hindu Sena who are filing these, and the police is accepting these complaints to register them as FIRs.
So are you saying that this is a wild propaganda and nothing substantial is there in these claims of mass conversion?
You see, the Supreme Court now is dealing with two matters. I am one of the petitioners in one of the matters. And the reason I am a petitioner is because in law, we have a very simple law of habeas corpus, which says, show me the body, show me the proof. So you have a petitioner who is in Supreme Court, who has been thrown out of Supreme Court many times, thrown out of High Court, but now has found a judge who is willing to listen to him, who is saying in lakhs and lakhs, forced mass conversions have happened. We have said, can you show us even one? There are courts in Uttar Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh, in other such regions where a family of 5 was arrested for celebrating happy birthday. And they were told that this is nothing more than an effort to convert. And these 5 neighborhood women who had gotten together to have this birthday party took almost 6 weeks to get bail in something so trivial, something so non-criminal. It takes forever to create, but a moment to destroy. And my request is to everybody to be able to ensure that in this beautiful garden that we have, and each little flower that has its own fragrance is cherished. And my Prime Minister needs to speak out. My Home Minister needs to speak out when he sees that damage happening to the variety of flowers in this nation. Their silence is what is allowing a lot of this damage to be caused.